And the thing that I really appreciate about Tank is he's a dog. That kind of that what he just said. You can put the earmuffs up and go at it. He kind of will assess you as well, and whatever he needs to do, he'll do it.
Jake Paul has responded to the newly viral sparring and training footage of Gervonta Tank Davis that's been making waves across social media. And his reaction has everyone talking. The clip shows Davis looking sharper, faster, and more explosive than ever as he gears up for his next fight, sparking major buzz among fans who believe Tank may be entering the peak of his career. Davis has built his reputation dominating the lighter divisions, typically fighting between 133 and 135 pounds, and he's never officially competed above 140 in his professional career. In contrast, Jake Paul is a natural cruiserweight, usually fighting around 200 pounds, the weight he's recently been competing at. This isn't just a minor size gap, it's several weight classes apart. When the difference is that significant, a lot more factors come into play. The heavier fighter usually carries advantages in strength, durability, punch resistance, and overall leverage. At that point, it's not just about skill, it's about who can withstand punishment and still remain effective in the ring.
Something else that's unfortunate is the idea that Jake Paul might actually fight Gervonta Tank Davis. This can't be real. When it came up a couple of months ago, I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to cover this because there's no way they're really going to do that because it makes no sense. Why would you do that for him? Outside of it, like, okay, you can look at it like an exhibition, which it will be, and we'll take a look at some of the rule set for it. But Gervonta Davis is one of, if not the best, biggest names at 135 pounds, and is an active in his prime fighter. I don't want to hear the similar to Floyd and Logan thing because at that point, Floyd was retired. Floyd had done all he needed to do in the sport. Tank is still in his prime, still has multiple high-level opponents that he needs to fight. And you can say, oh, you know, the Jake would be a one-off, side quest. That's fine, but that just tells me that Tank doesn't care about being a high-level champion in the sport anymore.
Carmel Moughton recently reflected on a sparring session he had with Gervonta Davis when Davis was just 15 or 16 years old. He admitted he was nervous at first, but said the session quickly turned into a technical chess match, focused not on power, but on timing, speed, and countering. Moughton explained that Davis never tried to go full force or knock him out. Instead, both fighters exchanged angles and rhythm in a smart, strategic battle. He noted that while Davis's strength was definitely noticeable, their exchanges in skill and quickness were evenly matched. Moughton described the experience as fun, challenging, and an important learning moment in his own development as a fighter.
What was it like when you sparred him? I know you sparred Tank early on.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? Like, replay that experience for me. Like, you coming out of it, what was your thought?
Yeah, I was nervous at first. I think I was 15 at the time we sparred, so he wasn't really like trying to knock me out or nothing like that. But we was going like, he was using the speed on me. Like, we was both like going speed for speed, and it was great. It was like a chess match.
Did you understand in that moment like why he is who he is?
Yeah, I seen why he was able to beat these guys. Then I also seen why I'm so like I got all this hype around me too.
Sean Porter has come to Gervonta Davis's defense regarding his decision to take part in an exhibition bout with Jake Paul, arguing that critics are missing the bigger picture. According to Porter, the fight isn't about proving greatness. It's about ensuring financial security for Davis and his family. Since it's an exhibition, the risks are reduced through agreed-upon rules and safety measures, making entertainment the primary goal. Porter pointed out that boxers have short careers and must seize opportunities that bring both visibility and financial gain. From his perspective, Davis accepting the fight isn't selling out. It's a smart move to protect his future while entertaining fans. Porter's comments underscore the tension between boxing purists focused on legacy and fighters who must also think about life beyond the ring.
They're trying to make it safer and all those sorts of things, but there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore, but it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis.
Is it more the heart? How do you guys feel in boxers?
Man, like once you hear the numbers, I'm like, they're talking like I don't know the official. They're talking about like 100 mil.
Oh, damn.
They're talking about these insane numbers. Like I'm gonna be like, don't take that. I'm not gonna tell another man not to take that type of check, especially for something like that. It's not on your official record. It's an exhibition. I'm not gonna lie here and act like I'm not gonna say yes to 100 million or something like that. But I do see exactly what you're saying about the essence of boxing. I wish they would kind of separate a little more, because exhibitions have always been a thing. This has always been an argument.
Right.
But they're just selling it like a real fight almost.
Right.
So I think that maybe if we could create a better like distinction, more of a difference,
Right.
there might be less hate on it. But at the end of the day, man, I'm not gonna tell Tank not to take that fight.
And I said this last year. I said create a influencer title. And let those guys fight over there in the influencer world. They can live the world and the life of I'm a world champion without having to do something like this. Now, the issue for this that I have is you have a legitimate 135-pound champion fighter get in the ring with that 190-pound guy, whatever it is that Jake Paul is at. So now we already let's really answer this thing.
In contrast, many critics argue that despite all the hype, the massive size disparity turns this matchup into more of a spectacle than a genuinely competitive or fair boxing contest. Even promoters appear to recognize this, which is why special safety measures are being implemented, including a catch weight of around 195 pounds, the use of larger gloves, and classifying the event as an exhibition. These precautions exist for a reason. For many observers, the real story isn't just the weight difference, but the contrast in experience. Gervonta Davis has faced elite world champions, while Jake Paul's resume remains limited. They envision Davis using his superior speed and precision to slip inside, land sharp combinations, and make Jake look awkward, proving that skill can still outshine size.
Be comment about it. My question is, what's the rules? And like, are they gonna actually try and knock each other out? Because it's gonna be a glorified sparring match. I'm not watching, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Jake's gonna have a hard time hitting him.
Yeah,
You know,
big time. Gervonta's so fast
and
and skilled.
Gervonta's gonna eat his.
I thought
guts.
Jake was gonna fight Anthony Joshua. That seemed.
No, that was
more-
actually getting.
That
that
is
sounded
the
more
craziest
interesting.
idea I've ever
Yeah.
heard. Jake Paul trying to fight Anthony Joshua is great fight.
Chael Sonnen recently criticized Jake Paul's decision to pivot from a potential matchup with Anthony Joshua to a fight with Gervonta Tank Davis, calling it a major letdown compared to what fans were led to expect. Sonnen argued that, unlike Paul, Tank isn't naturally skilled at promoting fights or generating hype. He prefers to let his fists do the talking in the ring, but doesn't possess the showman instincts that Paul has developed over time. While Sonnen acknowledged Davis's elite skill and legitimacy as a fighter, he suggested that the event's success would rely far more on Jake Paul's promotional power than on the actual clash itself. In his view, the fight's draw comes not from competitive intrigue, but from Paul's ability to turn it into a spectacle.
It is the exact opposite of Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul for 2. So the fight that was being dangled and rumored in front of us, the exact opposite has happened. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is not fighting nobody. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is fighting Tank Davis. Okay. So there's one big glaring issue for me. It's just your partner being Tank Davis. Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. It could be a title fight, a contenders fight, a main event fight. He could be the favorite. He could be the underdog. Tank doesn't know how to bring that information to you guys in a way that is compelling. And Tank is already blinking in this situation. You have one guy who is argued amongst the pound for pound current greats in boxing. You have another guy that has suggested he should not even be allowed to box, that he should have to call it something different. He should not be licensed. He should not be ranked in the top 14. He should never be selected for a world title. Okay. Now, Tank has one job to do, which is to let anybody know that's listening that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport.
Meanwhile, Gervonta Davis's perception of Jake Paul has noticeably evolved over time. Initially, Davis brushed Paul off as nothing more than a loud, attention-seeking entertainer, mocking his claims and viewing him as a sideshow in the boxing world. But as Paul began taking his training seriously and earning a measure of legitimacy through consistent effort, Davis's attitude shifted. He has since acknowledged Paul's work ethic, mental toughness, and dedication in the gym. While Davis still doesn't view Paul as elite boxing material, he's become more open to the idea of facing him, largely recognizing the massive audience and promotional value that come with Paul's name.
How about Jake? What do you think of Jake?
Clown. He's a clown. I know that Jake can't fight. He can't fight. So
would you look at it as a joke if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like,
yeah, I laugh at him. You want me to fight him? At first, I didn't like how Jake Paul was coming because of how he was making it look. But now that I see that, I feel as though he's still a clown because that's his personality. I'm starting to respect it because he's not doing it like for the hype. He was really like trying to be a boxer. I think that he's decent.
Yeah.
Like he's good. I mean, he's not good, but he's going that way.
Is he better than you thought he'd be?
Yeah. Gotta be mentally tough to be in a box. So that's why I don't take that away from some fighters or some people that want to jump into the sport. So just show how tough you are. That's how it should be.
Especially after Jake Paul's impressive victory over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., respect for him within the boxing community has grown significantly. The Anaheim event shattered the venue's gate revenue record, surpassing shows headlined by top-tier fighters and proving Paul's immense commercial pull. Prominent boxing figures like Oscar de la Hoya have started to view Paul as a legitimate contender, suggesting he could one day challenge for a world title. Even Manny Pacquiao acknowledged that, despite lingering skepticism, Paul's dedication to the sport is undeniable. The win also boosted Paul's technical credibility, with analysts praising his improved ring control, composure under pressure, and ability to dictate the pace against a seasoned opponent.
Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So Jake Paul, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., it's a real fight. Look, people keep talking about Jake Paul, well, he's not a real fighter, this and that. Well, he's fighting a real fighter now in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. It's going to be a good test for both guys. Obviously, Jake Paul, he's a masterclass promoter in what he does. He's been doing some great things. I mean, Mike Tyson, 60 million people. Fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who, when he trains, when he gets in shape, when he's focused, he will be dangerous for anybody. Look, Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So there's a lot of stories to come out from this. A lot of great stories for Jake Paul. So I just feel honored and proud that we can team up with MVP Promotions, with Jake Paul, and we can make Zurdo Ramirez with Torticos the mandatory. That's going to be a bloodbath in itself. So we're excited.
Jake Paul has officially declared that the next chapter of his boxing career is just getting started. And this time, he's setting his sights on real, seasoned boxers across multiple divisions. Following his victory over Andre August, Paul announced that he's done with crossover and MMA opponents, committing instead to the traditional boxing path by facing legitimate professional fighters. In a recent CNN interview, he reaffirmed his determination, saying he plans to take on everyone, especially the biggest and toughest challenges where he's seen as the underdog, to prove his worth inside the ring. That same conviction echoes across his public appearances and social media, where Paul emphasizes that he's no longer chasing spectacle. His focus now is on building a lasting boxing legacy and earning respect by competing against credible opponents at the sport's highest level.
So everybody's been calling you out, Daniel Dubois, Ryan Garcia, all these people. Who's the most enticing to you?
Oh no, like, I want to fight them all, to be honest. I just need the time. So I probably will literally fight all of them. So they're all enticing to me.
However, the massive weight gap between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis proved too significant to ignore, ultimately leading Georgia's athletic commission to reject approval for the matchup. As a result, Paul's team withdrew their application for event permits in Georgia and decided to relocate the fight to Miami instead. The move underscores just how complex organizing major exhibition bouts can be. Regulators don't just consider money and star power. They also weigh safety, fairness, and overall risk. For Davis, being denied approval in Georgia highlights the ongoing skepticism surrounding such a drastic size mismatch. For Paul, however, moving the fight to Miami aligns perfectly with his...
There's no way in hell this fight was ever going to happen. And the fact that y'all believed it, I don't know, you're stupid. So Rick Thompson, chairman of the Georgia Athletic Commission, told USA Today Sports that Paul's promotion company withdrew its request for permits and a rule waiver, citing the 65-pound weight difference between the fighters. The Rick Thompson guy straight up said they've been promoting something they should not have been. Come on, guys, like, use your brains. Y'all boxing fans, you understand this. This fight was never going to happen. This is the article from USA Today. It says the status of the proposed fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis under scrutiny because of the weight discrepancy between the two fighters. Rick Thompson is coming out and saying this stuff because he said he believes it's in the public's best interest to know that they've been promoting something they should not have been. Communications director for the Office of the Secretary of State told USA Today Sports the event will not be happening. But funny enough, tickets are still available. You can still purchase them online, and the fight is still listed on the State Farm Arena event.
Critics argue that Jake Paul's rise in boxing has been fueled not only by marketing and self-promotion, but also by a pattern of disrespect toward the sport's past generations. They claim that by luring retired legends back into the ring with promises of massive paydays, Paul has blurred the line between competition and spectacle, undermining boxing's integrity. While these matchups generate buzz and nostalgia, even drawing icons like Mike Tyson back after years of retirement, they also spark serious concerns about safety and about whether the sport is being exploited for entertainment rather than preserved for its tradition and discipline.
Out there taking on Mike Tyson that's pushing 60 years old, for crying out loud, but at the same time pretending to be like this badass motherfucker, sending me DMs talking. He offered me a contract a long time ago, and I was like, what are you doing? I'm a retired fighter and I've got one eye. Why would I want to fight you? I wouldn't lower myself to doing that. I know a lot of people do that. They do lower themselves, if you want to say that, because of the payday. Because Jake Paul is a big name. He is a social media sensation. He's a YouTube star. And now, of course, in the world of boxing, he's one of boxing's biggest stars because he puts on these spectacles like Paul versus Tyson, like Nate Diaz, because these are the fighters, these are the names that attract the eyes. Jake Paul is the B-side to almost every single one of his fights. When he fought Nate Diaz, people were tuning in for Nate Diaz. His last fight against Cesar Chavez Jr., apparently no one watched that fight. Apparently the pay-per-views were ridiculously low. So this one's going back to Netflix on November 14th, and it's an exhibition bout. Of course, it's an exhibition bout because no athletic commission in their right mind will sanction this fight. There's just no way you can make this a legitimate fight because of the size advantage. Typically, this will be very, very dangerous and someone could get really hurt. If Jake Paul was to swing as hard as he could and connect and wobble him and hit him many, many times and not knock him out with the bigger gloves and the concussion possibilities and the brain rattling around inside the head and Jake Paul just teeing off at him as hard as he could, it's dangerous. That's why fights like this can't get sanctioned. That's why this is a exhibition bout and not a real matchup. Now listen, they're both going to get paid tremendously. They're going to make a ton of money and a lot of people are going to tune in and watch it on Netflix. Fair play.
In the end, the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis spectacle perfectly captures how blurred the line between sport and entertainment has become in modern boxing. What some dismiss as a blatant mismatch, others see as a high-stakes business move, one that delivers massive exposure, record paydays, and global attention for both men. The weight gap, venue changes, promotional maneuvering, and ongoing debates about legitimacy continue to fuel controversy around the event. Yet for fans, critics, and insiders alike, the true intrigue lies in seeing how these two vastly different fighters handle the pressure, the public perception, and the aftermath once the lights go down. Whether it's remembered as a circus or a defining moment in crossover boxing, one thing is certain. Its impact on the sport will be felt long after the final bell.
Optically, visually, seeing that go viral, and I mean go viral, and Jake Paul will never hear the end of it.
We're gonna see about it.
Because Gervonta Tank Davis is not only a real boxer, he's a real boy. He's 5'5", he's a lightweight. Skills pay the bills. Let him knock out Jake Paul, give him Bambi legs, or knock him down. Gervonta Tank Davis, that moment will go viral, and he will be a far bigger, well-known boxer than he is today, and he will also be a hero. And that's the Black Two Sugars. That you guys don't want to admit it. Don't bull jive. Think about it.
What do you think? Does this fight actually make sense, or is it just too one-sided to take seriously? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let us know where you stand